So yeah, Stompin' Toms.
So we're back. Hopefully that fixed the problem. Sorry for the short delay there. As I was saying before that, Offensive Senses, one of the tracks that they sent in for us. Great track, boys. Keep them coming. I know you've been working on a few. We're happy to spin it for you. That said, once again, if you happen to be in a band, you want us to spin your music, and if we've already got it and you haven't heard it, send us a quick tweet, send us a quick message. We'll be happy to put it on here for you. That said, too, if you're tuning in for the first time, we've been doing this for a while now. I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, the 23rd broadcast that we've done. And you can check out our back catalog if you go to youtube.com/LondonIndieUG. You'll be able to see the previous week's podcast. And we've really been fortunate to have had some of the who's who of London come in and give us some insight and their perspective in the music industry, as well as some great performances, too, since we've been doing the live video streams, not limited to tonight with Geronimo, which I'm really looking forward to. I think, actually, Scotty, we've got a taker for this this contest here.
Yeah, bring it on.
So for the Beard Off Challenge, which we just tweeted out, so Kyle from Geronimo was nominated by Ricky, and Kyle's in the other room right now, and I got to tell you, he's got a pretty impressive beard.
Well, Kyle, come on down Saturday, and we're gonna line people up.
Who's judging?
And Jay's judging.
Well,
you're the judge for sure.
And the audience, like
the audience.
You're gonna have the audience in on that.
Yeah,
right?
we'll do it during a changeover or something.
Yeah.
We'll bring people up and we'll stand them on the side of the stage, and we'll say, well, yeah, maybe we'll stand them on the side of the stage. We'll bring people to an area where we do. We'll get everyone to yell beard, no beard, or something.
Yeah.
And we'll get people going.
We'll get some
I know there's some good beard.
over heads and some cheering.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, we'll bring out the decibel reader and we'll see who's getting the loudest beard cheered.
Do you have a decibel meter?
I don't, but we'll find one.
There's a free app on
There's a free
really?
app? Okay, that's great.
I don't know how accurate it is, but there's a couple
So Kyle, so I'm going to get to see some of the competition before the show tonight. This is great. This is great.
So earlier, Alexandra, who's working the streams for us here, posted up on London Indie Underground's Facebook page, and we were talking about fart tracks. He's like I said, I caught a lot of flack over playing this Salads track. Personally, I thought it was hilarious, but you know, not everybody shares in my lowbrow sense of humor. So that said, we posted up fart tracks, yay or nay, and almost immediately, Chris Brito from Mr. Tasty said yay. So we know he's pro fart. That said, Billy Joe said, "The fuck, no." And then Ben posted up, yeah, who doesn't enjoy a good ripper? So it's already it's out. Jury's out. We definitely need to get some more feedback about this. So if you think it's too lowbrow content for our podcast, then I will never play it again. That said, if you'd like to hear the Salads fart track again, I'm not saying I'm going to play it necessarily today, but
it's long.
It is pretty long.
24 minutes.
Who doesn't love a good fart joke?
Oh, it's not a joke. It's a track.
No, but farts are...
So how did they make
Awesome.
it? Like actual farts?
Okay, so
or is it like
I will explain how this worked. Okay, so
MIDI farts?
EMAC Recording
real.
Studio.
All real farts.
All real.
No.
So
Yeah.
EMAC Recording Studio is here in London and is one of the bigger, if not I guess the biggest studio here in London. And at the time, Siggy Meier was working there along with Dan Broadback, and they were producing the Salads Fold A to B album, which I think it was 2002 or 2003.
It was during the mix, actually, because
Yeah.
the record was actually recorded over the course of a year. The guys would come down for a weekend, and so during the week or whatever we spent mixing, we set up a mic, and it was dedicated as the fart mic.
But wasn't it all Dave farting?
It was mostly Dave.
Yeah,
it wasn't
Dave.
all, though.
Oh,
It was
okay.
definitely, we all
I thought it
traded
was all
off.
Dave. I thought
Yeah,
it
we
was all
definitely
Dave.
all traded
Mostly
off.
Dave.
So what they did is they took these fart samples, and in like Pro Tools or whatever program they were using to record at the time, they mapped out a medley of their songs, which they painted it in MIDI, but then substituted for the fart sample, which changed the pitch based on the medley of the song. So the whole song is just a mash of a bunch of different fart sounds.
Did you already play it today?
It almost
no,
doesn't even
no,
sound
no,
like
no.
farts anymore after a while. It's just totally normal.
I know.
I'm just so used to it.
But I'm just
like-
saying, I caught a lot of flack
I know
over
that's
this.
weird, but-
when I'm out around town, and I've had people stop me and say, "Hey, I listened to your podcast, and what's up with that fart song?" That's when I tuned out. So I don't know. So we want your opinion. We want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. This is important stuff to us. We're doing market research. Very important. You can tell us. All right, should we get to some more music? Or actually, no. I think that's a great segue into talking to Siggy.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I was thinking it, but I was
the
like, don't do it,
microphone.
don't do it, don't do it.
All right. So Siggy, we got to ask you about this. And you know where I saw it first up, and I think I messaged you, and I'm like, dude, what's this all about? And
Yeah, a lot of people did,
yeah,
actually.
and then the very next day, I see Alan Cross had put out a tweet.
That was unexpected.
And on his website about this particular
I
thing.
don't know
So
how
can you
he saw
describe
that.
to us this?
Okay, this isn't even very old. We're talking maybe like a month ago, maybe 6 weeks tops. I was doing an EP with a band called Stuck Out Here. Some kind of punky, Gaslight Anthem-y kind of band, whatever. Anyway, so setting up the drums, I just, I'd like to make sessions interesting. Not just for the band, but for myself as well. And I always like to get every member involved and excited about what we're doing, even if it's just technical nerd shit. And I said to Pat, the drummer, and I was totally serious, I said, dude, you know what we should do? I want to know I want to know what your butthole hears. I want to know how it hears drums. So he looked at me just like, like, well, how are we going to do that? I'm sure he was actually expecting me to put a mic in his ass, which I'm not opposed to doing, but in this case, it was actually just going under the stool. So literally putting a mic underneath the stool just to really hear the kit and the room and everything the way your butt hears it. It seems pretty fundamental, right? Most people have never done it because of two reasons. One, squeaking of a chair is bad, especially if the mic is literally 2 inches from the bottom of the chair. So the drummer has to be a little bit quiet. Underneath that area, like really what are you going to get? Like underside of snare, the back of the bass drum, lots of room obviously, that kind of stuff. So generally people don't do it because it's like, well, that's a stupid spot to put a mic because it's not going to sound good. However, somehow it became a magical spot, especially if you put a little bit EQ and compression, kind of smash it a little bit, and you got a nice room to work with too. It becomes this like crazy thing in the mix. It like adds all this like thick mid-range and meat and like balls and all this awesome stuff. Literally. And that's kind of where it started. So I posted a picture of just from behind. I was kind of more or less trying to show the mic, but Pat's ass got in the shot really well too.
Right,
so that became like the thing. I started taking a picture of people's butts, along with the mic, and it just worked really well. So I made another one with the next band that was in, Mouth from Toronto. And the song that we were actually, I wanted to make a little audio sample of it, so to make a little YouTube video, and the song was called Brown, and that was entirely accidental.
Yeah,
I am not even kidding.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know the name of the song at that point, and I just recorded a quick little sample of drums, and I was like, I should put the name of the song. Like, what's the name of this tune? And they're like, it's called Brown. I was like, holy shit. Perfect. And I posted that little video, and it got a bunch of views, and then Alan Cross posted it, and SJC Drums posted it, and a bunch of other people reposted it, and before we knew it, had like almost 2,000 views. It was crazy. Yeah, so it was kind of a joke, turned into, this sounds actually pretty okay. And now I have people sending me pictures of like the console with the tape, and one track's called Anal Mic, and I'm just like, this is...
Are they attempting, other people are attempting this now?
Other people are doing it. They're sending me pictures of their setups, of the stool and all this stuff, and it's like, it's become as normal as like snare top and snare bottom. Snare top, snare bottom,
so
overheads,
now
mic.
would you suggest now that this is a fixture in your miking technique?
It definitely isn't mine. I'm not sure what everyone else, but and it always has to be called anal mic. Like,
naturally.
That's it's very simple and very fundamental, but it was actually pretty cool.
We got a couple more messages here. The Diaddicts, a band that we've been featuring here, and they're still having some issues with the feed. It keeps cutting out on them. I really don't know what to tell you, gentlemen. Like I said, from our end, everything looks okay. Anybody else, if you're still having some issues with our feed, you want to let us know. I mean, we do use a Ustream account, which we might be at their mercy in terms of their level of service. But from our end, everything seems to be okay. So if you are having some problems, let us know. We can certainly try a reboot again if necessary. But I'm hoping it's an isolated incident. Sorry, Maddie. I know you enjoy checking out our program. We love when you tune in.
Ask him if he's on Rogers.
You can ask him yourself.
Very anti-Rogers as of late.
I don't even want to get into that, because I seen you kind of going off.
Have you been posting on their forum though?
On their Facebook site.
Yeah.
I said, I can't remember what I said, but thanks for sucking big fat hairy balls for the last 3 years.
I
They deleted it.
Jesse Colburn dedicated a good portion of his life for a while to challenging them through email and on their Facebook page, and they would not. He would ask them if they were throttling, right? He was like, "But you throttle," and they wouldn't say yes, they wouldn't say no. They just kept trying to change the subject
course
on
they
him.
do.
And he's like,
What do
"But
you mean by throttle?"
but throttling internet usage in different areas,
Yeah.
so the broadband, so you
yeah,
get
yeah.
signal."
Speed.
Yeah,
What'd you think?
I didn't know what. I've never heard that term in this. Roger
I don't want to know what
sense.
Ajay thinks when the word throttle's brought in.
I was thinking the same thing he was
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
It's a
won't
very
get into
real
Rogers
thing, though.
here.
They do that. I
Oh, of course
guarantee
they do.
do it. I mean, who really has like a great dedicated sort of backbone? Universities, maybe the police station. Like,
Universities. Every time I play schools, I go to these schools and I'm in a school and I was like, my phone won't work. Like I get no service when I
well,
go
it
to
could
these
be the
schools. Fairchild's
building,
the
of course,
worst.
because of the
Yeah, it's
structure. The
They
steel
really
and
need a
everything,
repeater on that building.
yeah.
I mean, when you
What?
think about a repeater, yeah, here we go again. Very
Man.
funny.
I've gotten with that so
Oh,
much in the past 3
I
weeks.
almost beat him up the other day. I'm not even kidding. No, but they do need to put something on that school. This is Ajay, by the way. Ajay kind of came in during the break, who's been hanging around here for I don't even know why. I'm just kidding. Ajay's my business partner in Underground Sound Rehearsal Studios, which we'll talk about a little bit later. That said, so Siggy, I got your jump drive here of songs.
Oh yeah.
And I'm wondering, what do you want to spin, buddy? Because it's all about you.
Well, if it's all about me, we should play some Curtis.
Well, those of our listeners that may not know, that may be tuning in for the first time, so Siegfried Meier is a producer based out of Goderich, and has a recording studio called Beach Road Studios on Brinley Beach Road. And I think, Siggy, we were talking earlier that you're celebrating your 7th year now?
Yeah, we're
in
going on 7
operation.
years. May it'll be 7 years. Yeah.
And it's, I got to tell you, it's a pretty impressive studio. Let me show you here. Boom, I got a little picture there. So this was something that I saw that you had posted up, so I made sure to grab it so that people could take a look. But one of the things impressive of note, Siggy, was your feature in, which magazine? Is Mix Magazine?
Professional Sound.
Professional Sound
Yeah,
Magazine.
they did a really good spot on it. It's a little 4-page. It's awesome. It's great.
Right, and Mr. Meow was front and center.
Yeah. I didn't even get a picture of me in there. My cat did.
There's no picture of you.
No, it's nothing to me.
But did they take pictures of you?
No, see, the way Pro Sound works, like basically they do the interview over the phone, and then you submit photographs. Hopefully they're good. They don't really send out a photographer, though, because that's...
Right, so I
a lot of-
remember you were having some photos done up at the
Yep.
studio. You had mentioned that. in
Yeah,
some
and
of
that's
your
why
videos.
I did it. I revamped the website, and that's the shit that you have to do when you're, trying to market a place like that or anything really. So yeah, I kind of just did it all at once, got everything done. But those pictures were originally for the article. That was why we had done the photo shoot. But yeah, it was really cool.
Well, 7 years in business, you've really had the privilege of recording a lot of talent.
And
in
that's
your
just
building.
that specific facility, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, this goes back to the mid '90s. Like I've been doing stuff for a long, long time. So,
Right, and you've got some throwback stuff here, right?
that's pretty much all I got today.
So which one do you want me to spin, Curtis?
Let's play a Curtis track. This is we're technically not together, and we're technically not really apart.
Did you not? You played Warped Tour
Well,
last year,
we
though.
play all the time. We do shows. We do a song together. We did that Kiss thing. Like we're I don't even know what we are exactly. Like we're just not an actively. We're busy. We're old dudes. We got
Right.
shit to do, money to make. Can't waste time playing in bands. Right?
Thanks, Dad.
I wish we could. I wish we could spend more time. And actually, I think with the next couple of years, I think I want to spend some more time writing and doing my own thing and playing with Mills right now, doing his record, playing drums and like actively playing more, that kind of stuff. So it's fun.
Right.
That's all this is about. It's
Well,
just enjoying yourself.
If you're not enjoying what you're doing, then you shouldn't be doing it, right?
Get out.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Sell your shit on eBay and quit.
Congrats on 7
Thank you.
years.
Thank you so much.
It's an unbelievable facility you have there.
Thank
I've
you.
had the privilege of coming up and working with you a couple of times.
Yeah, and it's always been fun.
And I go out there and I ogle gear.
There's
'Cause,
even more now.
Oh, I know, dude. I've been seeing the pictures. And
Don't
it
tell
just,
Rachel.
So, now I know you. We'll talk about this in a bit. We'll get to this track, but I always see some stuff popping up about endorsements that you have at your studio now. So we'll check this track out, and then we'll get into a bit of that. So this
This is recorded live, actually, this one.
really?
We did this back in late 2004 when we first got back together again. We had a little bit of I would say falling out. We just things moved on. I went to school. I got a job at EMAC, and I worked in other studios, and I was all over the place. So and the rest of the guys sort of moved on too. So I mean, we got together late 2004. We were doing a reunion show for a club called the 10-Day Cafe that we used to play at all the time back in the day. And they were doing this. And the first reunion that they had was just immense. It was huge, and it was awesome. So this was basically our rehearsal for this show that we were playing. And we tracked it, and it turned out really well. So I ended up just mixing it, and we kind of unofficially released a live in the studio album, which there's I think there's probably 16 or 17 songs off this record. But I plan on actually releasing this someday. But this is one of those tracks.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's check this out. So this is Curtis with Boxes on the London Indie Underground. Oh, yeah. Curtis with Boxes here on the London Indie Underground. So we're kind of chatting about the origins of this song and the kind of the meaning of it in its title being Boxes.
Yeah, it's not that hidden, I suppose, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's basically about like being, that band where, you do. I mean, and this was huge for bands in the 90s because when CDs became all the rage, everyone was sort of spending a lot of money making records. Like, I think our first record, that was actually off our second album, but the first record CD that full length we done, I think we were paying like $2.80 or $3, like, and this was like for $500 at the time,
Right.
which is crazy. Like, now I can get discs down to like 80 cents a disc pressed, from a plant. So it was a lot of money. It was a big investment, especially for a band who, back in those days, you just, nobody really had credit cards. Like it was a different time, right? So like that song was basically, after our first album was done, we were ready to make a second one, but we still had a shitload of disc left from the first album. And it kind of bummed out, like having a whole shitload of boxes of CDs in your corner, basically, used as like a coffee table. Or sitting under your bed, or and I've still got a shitload of those discs, which I keep saying someday I'm gonna sell those someday.
I'll take one for free.
I'll even give them away for free.
Okay.
Definitely.
You're
Yeah.
hoping for that reunion show.
We do reunion shows once every year or two.
And do you sell any CDs?
Less every year. Every time we do it, less.
I'm sure
I don't
other
even think
bands-
people even download our stuff anymore. They just.
Well, I know the times have changed, right? And nowadays, a lot of people look for digital distribution as opposed to printing a hard copy. But I'm the firm believer that there's something to be said for having a product that you can put into people's hands.
I think if you're playing shows and
Yeah.
you're touring, you need to have something because people need to hear you on the spot there.
Right.
But for the rest of the people that you're too far away from, you got to do the digital thing too.
Well, and I'm
Just
sure.
like- oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
After
go
you.
ahead. No,
After you.
please.
Shouldn't you be on a
No,
mic?
no, after you.
Okay,
No, it's on.
Yeah. I think it's awesome too, like being at a show and actually having something to take home with you instead of going like, oh, check us out on the web and there you go. I like having that thing to get from a show or to give at a show.
We did Warped Tour a couple years ago. I have a tiny little label project that basically just loses money. It just whatever.
A music project that loses money?
Surprise, surprise.
Get out.
Well,
No.
we did samplers a couple years ago, and we were giving out stickers and pins and these sampler discs that were just in a paper sleeve, full color though, not CDRs, real discs, 6 songs or something, But nobody threw them away. You look around, you see download cards on the ground at Warped Tour, and like all people's stuff is all over the ground, just thrown away. But the discs never got thrown away.
That's cool.
And that people probably took them home, and even if they listened to it once on the way home, that's as much as you could expect.
It's funny because when you look nowadays at the cost of pressing CDs, obviously it's always been the case that the more you get, the better deal that you get.
Yeah.
But there seems to be that tipping point over 1,000. When once you get to 1,000, they get really cheap,
It's
right?
insane. Even to 1,000, like it's
Right.
it's awesome because you have to pay for artwork at 1,000
Right.
to get the good deals. So if you only
Exactly.
order 500 discs, you still have to pay for the 1,000 artwork.
Right.
And they're just basically sitting there until you do your next 500 run.
Right.
You know.
So that said, I mean, if you want to end up with some coasters, unless of course, your band is aggressive and you're grinding it
Yeah.
out, you're playing a lot of shows, and whether or not you're giving it away, I mean, I think everybody knows my feelings on that, but I can sure there's a lot of bands that can identify with having a bunch of a couple of boxes kind of kicking around as some
I'm
of the
sure
old
most,
stuff, right?
more than not.
But I think
know.
you're kind of better off to get the better deal because you never know what's going to happen, right? I mean,
I always tell bands that go for at least 500.
Yeah.
And there's so many services now where they're doing like short order 100 run, but they're like $3 a disc, and there's CDRs.
right.
I'm just like, yes.
Yeah, they'll do
Indie
CDR
Pool
runs
does
now.
that. There's a bunch of
Oh,
places
that's
in Toronto.
gross.
It is gross. Like, why wouldn't you just get a better deal, get 500 at least, and just give 300 of them away?
Yeah.
Like,
It's worth it.
it
works out
totally
better
is
and it works
worth it.
better.
It
Yeah.
does absolutely.
They do
And
that.
not to mention that a lot of CDRs won't play in certain players, just for the fact that they're CDRs and their players being a little bitch.
Well, some of them too. I don't know. Some of the cheaper CDs,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you probably dealt with a few different companies.
Oh, yeah.
There's one right now that I'm really impressed with that I get to do my stuff, but I've dealt with other companies before that, you get back the labeling and it's just it looks cheap and
Everything's
the
off.
CD,
Oh,
yeah. And I mean it's tough, right? But then there's a couple of good companies, like one of the ones that I deal with out of Toronto, Samo Media. They're great.
I've heard of
the-
them, yep.
Yeah, the packaging that they do is really good, and they're very affordable. So I know sometimes bands are looking for information on where you can get that kind of stuff done, right? And not that we're necessarily a resource of that, but we're always willing to share our
The
experience.
best trick is to find a place that's not a broker. Because places like RDR, that's what we used to use back in the day.
Right,
That's
me
why
too.
it was so much more money, because they didn't actually do the pressing.
Yeah.
They brokered it out to a company, so they took their cut. The middleman, right? So
course.
I use a place called SLI in Toronto now as well, and they are everything. They're the in-house plant.
Yeah.
They have everything
Same with
there. They
Samo,
do all the
yeah.
work, so that's why they can give you a better price. So when you're shopping around, you're looking for that kind of thing, keep that in mind. Don't pay an extra dude money just for hooking you up with the plant, because they're really not. They're just taking your money,
So earlier, I got a message from, or tagged rather, in a post from Chris Hart, who I know Chris is listening to the podcast tonight in anticipation for us to spin a new track, Siggy, that you've been working on with him. Is that correct?
Yeah, Chris wrote these tunes, and a guy by the name of Steve Stunning is the actual vocalist. But yeah, we got Mercedes played drums. It was just a cool little
So
session.
Mercedes from the Alcoholies and
yeah.
Anne of Kitty.
Yeah.
What are there any other players of note?
Chris played most of the guitars, and I don't remember her last name, but
I don't think I've had the.
Laura, I think it was.
I haven't had the privilege of meeting Chris's acquaintance. I think I saw him recently at the Jack
Lori.
Richardson
Yeah,
Music
Lori,
Awards
yeah,
kickoff.
yeah. That's it. That's it.
But we haven't had a chance to connect yet. But I'm sure I'll be seeing him in the coming weeks here. And
Yeah, Lori
actually,
McColeman.
I
That's
got a
who
cool
was
announcement to
played
make.
bass.
About
She's a
her
great
little
bass
bit.
player too, by the way. So.
I just they played on Monday. She's in a band called the Bath Salts.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I'd never met her before. It's the first time she and apparently Lori was actually in the Alcoholies.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
during one of the
couple-
incarnations,
couple years ago.
yeah. So she came in and they basically tracked the stuff together live off the floor, no click, which I'm really digging a lot these days. Like just more of a natural, real kind of feel, and
Right.
and yeah.
It's because you watch Sound City, isn't it?
That's why I like Sound City so much, because I mean I feel like I was doing Sound City like 2 decades ago.
Right.
Because I grew up in that era of when
I liked 3/4 of that movie. The first.
that's what everyone says. Everyone says once they get past the part where Grohl basically steals the console from Sound City.
I wonder
'cause
how
we
much
don't know
do you
what-
think he paid for that?
You know what? Realistically, because I'm looking at values of what those things are. He even says in an interview where he says the console should probably be worth about $1 million right now, based on what it is, the rarity of the parts, and if you part it
The
out and
history,
sell it on
yeah.
eBay, it would probably go for just under $1 million. But I'm gonna guess. They say that it was purchased for $75,000 in like 1970.
Right, yeah, the
71?
original receipt, yeah.
I'm gonna guess that he probably got it for about $200,000.
You think so, eh?
That's my
Really?
that's
I'm
my
thinking
guess.
more than
yeah,
that.
I'm
I don't
thinking
think.
more, too.
I bet you between 2 and 3 tops. There's no way.
But he doesn't
because
say. He's
he
not.
never says it, which is why I'm thinking he got a really good deal out of it. The studio was closing; they needed to liquidate. Right now, I'm gonna say it's a very soft time for hardware, for gear.
But it's not. It's
You know?
not like they couldn't get rid of it. Just someone else, like someone else.
They
There's people
could
that collect
they
that
could have
shit too,
parted
right?
it out. They could have done a lot of things, but they probably needed to move it pretty fast because the studio was getting sold. So it's
Yeah,
basically
but
liquidation
it's funny that
auction
it's
prices.
sold, but I think the room is still available for.
The room has been bought up by another dude who worked with like the Black Keys, and I've seen pictures. I can't remember the site right now, but it's totally different looking. The tracking floor is similar, but the control room doesn't. Like he ripped all the shag off and he cleaned it up a lot. But to me, it kind of wrecked. I mean, obviously it wrecked the vibe
vibe,
of everything.
for sure.
There's like
Yeah.
a bunch of weird old vintage consoles. He's got like a weird old Scully deck or something, like 8-track, like 1-inch
We're
shit.
still
Or,
using it as a studio.
oh, it's still a studio, and it's extremely old school now. It's even more old school than when it was Sound City,
It's
like,
not
as far as
Sound
gear.
City.
Our listeners that may not know.
You know what? I'll be able to find it in a bit.
Okay.
So I'll kind of tee this up for our listeners.
Yeah.
So those of you that may not know, Sound City is a documentary that Dave Grohl put together about a recording studio called Sound City that housed one of 4 rare Neve consoles, and they had through that studio attract some of the
80% of all the stuff you heard in the 80s.
right. Some of the biggest albums that
Yeah,
have
Nirvana,
certainly come out of that area,
Rage.
including Nevermind. And this particular console is renowned and infamous for having a particular tone, but I think it was coupled with that room too, because there was a sweet spot in that room that wasn't even intended to be a recording studio.
It was a
but-
Vox Factory,
Yeah,
effect.
exactly.
Which
is
I didn't know
amazing.
until I watched
That's
that.
amazing.
But, yeah.
But then the last, 45 minutes of the documentary was about Dave Grohl had purchased this console.
I mean, the whole thing's about Dave Grohl.
Well,
Produced by Dave Grohl, written by Dave Grohl,
yeah,
songs by
exactly.
Dave Grohl.
Exactly. And then it was him,
love you,
collaborating with a bunch of his musical friends and some, throwbacks and people that had recorded at Sound City and put out an album under that name, and it was the Sound City Players.
It was cool.
Yeah, it was.
It's just that part of the movie was way too long. If they would have
Right.
cut that part in half, it would have made the whole documentary better.
Right. Well, that said, Siggy, I think we should get to one of these tracks here. So
Yeah.
I've got two of them. So this is Steve Stunning.
Let's
Which
play Punk Rock Soldier.
we'll play this one.
Yeah.
So we're going to tee up this track. So we've got Geronimo that are in the other room, and they're itching to perform. for
Especially
us.
Kyle.
Yeah,
He's itching.
He's itching his beard.
He's itching his beard in there.
He's ready for the beard off. I don't know, man. He's pretty impressive.
I know, but we were talking. The beard has to go temple to temple, and it has to be a mustache as well. So it's got to be a full beard.
I'm out.
Yeah,
Can't even go temple to temple. Stops like right
So it
here.
has to go chin to eyelid.
Chin to eyelid. That is a proper beard.
Look at that.
I know. I really wussed out on that, didn't I? I'll maybe next winter.
You really let me down, Scotty.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Could you imagine? I would look
Yeah,
like
you'd have some eye beards, man.
I'd have
You
some.
gotta
It
do
comes up to like here.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it. You look like the Wolfman.
Oh, well, I can't do it now.
No.
It's all got to grow at one length, right?
So after the show, what are you doing?
Well,
Is it going to be various stages of beard?
I wanted to take this out, but
Do the friendly mutton chops?
and just leave the mutton chops for a while.
Yeah.
But I've been told no, that's not allowed.
Come on. I saw him with sideburns, man. It was at Halloween. He had these sideburns, and it was unreal. He had them for a day, and I was like, "You have to keep them." He was like, "No,
Yeah, but I had a skullet too. I mean,
Well, you could. I said get rid of the skull and keep the sideburns because it looked amazing.
What if maybe I'll take like this much off, just the goatee part off of my face, and
Right.
leave that for a while, nice and thick.
In the spirit of Scotty's beard, this is Steve Stunning with Punk Rock Soldier on the London Indie Underground.
I'm gonna lose my job working for the city. If I don't clean up at the methadone clinic, my supervisor's furious. My conduct has been hideous and bogus.
Steve Stunning on the London Indie Underground. We're going to flip right to another song, and when we come back from the break, Geronimo is going to join us for a live performance. So once again, Steve Stunning, this is She's a Prostitute on the London Indie Underground.
And I'm so in love.
Steve Stunning with She's a Prostitute here on the London Indie Underground. So we had run a contest for a month here called Battle for the Underground, where once again we had bands vie for an opportunity to perform live here on London Indie Underground. And one of those bands who received within the top 3 likes was offered an opportunity to come in. And I'm very pleased today to introduce you to Geronimo.
Squinting like a sleepy mole, orange needles prick my soles. Inhale clearest morning cold. Rubbing my like a sleepy mole. Whoa, whoa.
All right. So that song was called Sleepy Mole. We're Geronimo, and thanks for watching so far. This next one's called Forgotten Virtues. I held it to the light, words scratched on paper, carelessly scribbled down for no one's eyes but mine, an outdated letter. I realized it was time to add to its record with sad goodbyes from ancestors. The same will swell your eyes, but all for the better. Time will put out the fire that makes them sting. It snuffs the sorrowful past holding you together, but it's all gone, evaporated. There are just streams of thought to distract me from all of this disarray. I'll start looking for things to bring up in conversation. With family old and new, I won't be bothered. These days are bitter. My mind is mourning too on fields of December. The year is ending soon. My conscience more tender. Such toasts of virtues forgotten by the sage, and remember them in everyday decisions. I've noticed how our tapestries are frayed, but I also think we could mend them with some precision. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. But I'm too young to feel this down. Well, just 'cause you smoke and drink doesn't mean you should think like a married man. I'll start looking for things to bring up in conversation. Sent by small moves. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. It's not so bad.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks to all of you, too.
Yeah, so we're Geronimo. Thanks a bunch for watching. Check us out. We have a Bandcamp. You can get there by typing in www.ogeronimo.com. And you can download our debut EP, Mind Your Mannerisms. Just want to say thanks to Jimmy and everybody from the London Indie Underground. Our bassist is Lundy. London Indie Underground. Thank you so much. This song is called Arctic Shores. Yawn and wake up by the roadside, below the 1,000 willow sways. The season's call tells me to turn aside, to pull a rest under unlit days. character be characteristic. We can wake up by the timberline, feel the warmth of sunlight rays. So the main events of my lifetime, by the effect on my actions today, I barely touch real ground anymore. Well, hell is shiny laminated floors. I barely touch real ground anymore. I've got my goddamn devotions behind doors. Closed doors. As I woke up by the coastlines where the moon falls merrily, where I fell asleep till the springtime, ever so solitary. Well, I don't think certain thoughts anymore, or hibernate by Arctic Ocean shores. You've got your goddamn opinions, but I'm not sure. On these shores.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. We're Geronimo. Thanks for tuning in.
Stalefish with Atterberg Limit here on the London Indie Underground. We spun that tune in advance of our show that's coming up this weekend, Saturday at the London Music Hall, which is going to feature Two Crown King, which is the band I'm proud to be part of, along with the Salad, Stalefish, and My Son the Hurricane. And before that, Geronimo, who I'm joined by now. Gentlemen, that was a great performance. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Great. So I wrote everybody's name down, and I told everybody I was going to do it because I'm not good with names. So Kyle, you're already infamous because we know you got the beard. So we got Kyle, Drew, Andrew, Kieran, and Justin. So a couple questions for you. So first off, how did you find out that we were holding this contest?
Facebook.
Yeah.
Just kind of like Facebook newsfeed.
Yeah.
It's just like
a bunch of our friends were all signing up as well.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
So there's some other bands. Is there any other band that won the contest that you guys are familiar with, or?
Yeah,
he's in the Baxters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so I'll be seeing you back then, right?
Yeah.
And then, the Heavy Heavies are actually from Burlington, a couple of our hometowns.
Okay.
So we saw them doing it or whatever.
Awesome.
It became a little bit of a competition, but
excellent.
No hard feelings or anything. You know.
No, they're great. They're really great. Both really great bands.
Well, that's cool. I mean, it kind of worked out exactly how we had hoped, which since we started doing this podcast, we've connected with a number of bands, including yourself, that, I wouldn't, or perhaps our listeners wouldn't have been familiar with otherwise. Mm-hmm. And what we were looking to do was to see, who really wanted an opportunity to showcase, and obviously you guys came up as one of the winning bands. I got to say, great sound. Earlier I was suggesting that your sound is very, you got that Fish element in terms of those harmonies, but at the same time it's like very folk rock too, right? With the banjo. How long have you guys been together?
All together, maybe around a year. Not even.
Well, Justin joined recently.
Yeah, I've been with him for a couple of weeks, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just for a couple of weeks?
Yeah, a couple of weeks now.
Okay.
But the four of us have been playing for about a year, since last year.
About a year together?
The three of us.
The three of us in the previous band, too. So we've been playing since high school together.
Oh, excellent.
So 3 or 4 years.
That's great. I mean, it's always a great story when you hear people that kind of carry on musically together, right? Because you grow together.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, when you think back to your formative years and where you were and kind of where you are now, it's probably pretty... You can certainly see the evolution of the music, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
So I understand you guys have a show coming up.
Tomorrow night, actually.
So tomorrow night, where are you playing?
At the APK.
APK, so the new APK.
The new,
which is Brennan's Bistro, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's right behind Call the Office.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who are you playing with?
Playing with the Almighty Rhombus and Fun Fact.
Fun Fact.
Yeah,
okay, there's a band that we showcased here on the London Indie Underground.
Yeah.
Or the Lundy Indie
Yeah,
Underground,
the
as somebody
Indie
suggested.
Underground.
Nice. And so obviously you've sent in some musical submissions to us, but where can people find your info right now? I know you kind of mentioned the link there during the performance.
Yeah. Well, we have a Facebook page. I think it's probably Facebook.com/OGeronimo.
It's all the regular internet pages. I mean, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have a Bandcamp where you can go listen to
Instagram
songs and download stuff.
We don't have Instagram.
Oh, we don't have Instagram anymore?
No, you gotta get on
We have a
Instagram, man.
Twitter.
Yeah.
We're all over.
Yeah.
We have everything everyone else does.
So here's an interesting question for you. So I think only one of you is wearing shoes, right? Everybody
I
else
did.
is in socks.
Two.
Yeah.
My shoes look like
socks.
socks.
So are you guys normally a shoes off band?
I'm
Shoes on
definitely a
band.
shoes
I
off
dig the
guy.
shoes.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
Yeah.
As a drummer.
I don't know. I wear shoes all the time in the house.
Yeah.
I'm
But it's like
it's just how things are for me, even at home.
It's just how it is.
Yeah.
I think
Sorry,
it's
it's really
like,
nice.
It's like the winter and like wearing boots though, and then like playing a show and like stepping all over your pedals and like,
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of messy. Like
I played a show recently with somebody that had worn the full Kodiak boots up on stage.
Oh.
It was a good look.
Big
It was a good
boots.
look.
Cool.
That was
Make
rock
it
and roll,
hot,
man.
though.
That's you just don't. Well, maybe punk rock because you just don't care, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
He has sweet guitar tone.
So, when I listen to your music, and I cited a couple of the influences that I hear, but what kind of stuff do you guys listen to? Like, what do you draw your inspiration from musically?
A bunch, really.
A lot of bands. Just to name a couple.
I don't know. It's like I don't know. I think like musically, like we really like lots of like kind of new folk bands, like atmospheric folk bands, like Fleet Foxes. You know.
The Wooden Sky. Maybe?
Yeah, the Wooden Sky, like
the Acorn as well. Like
the
a lot of
Acorn.
Canadian folk bands.
Okay.
A lot of it, like, it depends. I mean, you could ask any of us, and we'd tell you we have 5 different favorite bands. But a a lot of it is like about the songwriting though. Like there's a lot of songwriters that we admire, and not that we try to write like them, but it's a sort of inspiration. It's a sort of like, wow, I wish I could like get that sort of point across to somebody. And
namely John K. Sampson.
Yeah,
John
I
K.
love
Sampson.
John K. Sampson.
Of the Weaker Thans.
The Weaker Thans, and Neil Young.
Well, yeah.
Very cool.
Just a lot
Canadian.
of it's mostly Canadian
artists.
stuff. Like, I mean, we don't like try and be obviously Canadian,
Right.
but it's just like we can't really help it, I suppose.
You know what? At the same time, though, you have a very unique sound.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You know, when you, I suppose maybe from the outsider looking into London, a couple of the bands that have put London on the map in recent years, anyways, have all been heavier, and some of the metal and core, the Baptized in Blood, Searching for Satellites, that sort of thing. But and even Kitty, but you guys kind of represent in my opinion, a newer, fresher sound that I think is is very identifiable in terms of when you think about some of those bands that you mentioned. But I find that type of music too, the message is intrinsic, and I think that it really can connect with people if you read into it. But moreover, I think it's about the vibe too, right? And I mean, there's something to be said when you look up on stage and you see a bunch of guys that are really feeling what they're playing. And that said, to have the assortment of instruments that you guys have up on stage is very compelling. So I got to say, well done.
Thanks.
Well done. And again, congratulations for winning the contest. And that said, if you have any new music or any shows or anything coming up, make sure you bounce it off us, because what we're here to do is to support bands like yourself and try to help get the word out there. So we're going to fire out some information through our feeds so that our listeners will know where to connect with you guys. But that said, once again, tomorrow night you're playing at the new APK, which is Brendan's Bistro. What's the cover? Do you know?
It's $5.
$5 cover. And 3 bands?
Three bands, doors at 9.
Doors at 9 o'clock, and one of those bands is Fun Fact, which once again we've featured here, and we've been really encouraging people to go and check out live music, right? If there was one of the messages, and I suppose one of the fundamental points of this podcast is to provide insight to local musicians as well as the casual listener on what they can do to support the music industry. And we know that London is certainly a hotbed of talent. There's 2 of the more popular schools, or more accredited schools rather, for recording arts, and one of them being Music Industry Arts at Fanshawe, the other one being OE-Art. So as musicians, and you guys have played together since high school, if there was any advice that you could give to an aspiring young musician or to the casual listener, what would it be in terms of what they can do to support our scene? Because it's, as much as it's about us, it's really not about us. We're all in this together, right?
Yeah.
So what advice would you impart to them?
Well,
I know it's kind of a pressing question, but
it's well, like, to support a local scene, like, it's all about supporting the bands. So that basically means, as you said, going to local shows and seeing bands who aren't huge names, who you don't pay like $30 to see.
Of course.
And I mean, I suppose buying merch helps whoever you buy it off of. But like, it's just support. It's just it's more of like shifting like your view from like huge worldwide bands who are really great. Like, there's a reason they're that popular, but also like looking at like local talents and like seeing something in them as well, seeing something valuable in like regular people, sort of, maybe. I don't really know where I'm going. But
I really truly believe that we have world-class talent here, and that may not be signed to a major label, but every bit as talented as some of those artists that are out in Rolling Stone magazine and the whole bit, right? So I think you make a good point. I mean, if you like it, buy it, and that's what I always say, right?
Really,
do you have stuff on iTunes?
We don't.
No, we don't.
We have hard copies of our EP, and we have t-shirts.
So will CDs and t-shirts be available at tomorrow's show?
Yeah, they will.
How much are your t-shirts?
$15.
You got any here with you?
We don't actually. Unfortunately.
No.
We could.
That's okay. Well, I'll tell you what. If you guys want to hook up with some, what we do is we do some prize giveaways through the podcast here, where we ask people to either tweet us or to message us, and we hook them up with some swag. And I'm willing to bet you that we've got some listeners that would be interested in getting their hands on a copy of this.
That'd be great.
Cool.
Definitely do it.
Yeah, we'd love to.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I want to thank you again for joining me today.
Thank you.
And once again, anything we can do to support, please let us know.
Oh, of course.
So we're going to cut to another track here, and then we're going to assemble the panel back into the room. So this track features my buddy Matt Grady, which I'll get into a little story about Matt Grady here in a bit. So this is Tandem Eagle with Crippled King on the London Indie Underground.
He's drifting in and out of consciousness again. Dry bones pry open both of his eyelids. He's hollowed out and he's shrouded in the darkness. He stays awake until the break of the silence. And no more does his curse cause him pain. He refuses to see that which won't change. He buckles up and shuts up and keeps rolling. The crippled king always dying, never growing. Once in his life he might like an honest answer to a question that he never really posed, and tell him something that leaves his ears ringing. Strip off the skin to the bone, guts exposed. And only sometimes does the curse cause him pain. He catches a glimpse of something now and again. He knuckles up and throws up and starts showing. The crippled king always dying, never growing. Every day his curse causes him pain. He's face to face and he's given it a name. He's fucked up with tough luck, his heart's flowing. The crippled king, crippled king, crippled king.
Brendan Edie's here. Edie's here. Edie's here.
Edie
Oh,
is here.
What
So-
else is new?
The party has picked up.
What are you doing, Siggy?
Well, I have to fix this
Wild,
because
wild Mike.
those crazy bastards that were in here before.
No, they were awesome.
Fucked with my shit.
Can you do me a favor? Yeah. That microphone right now is on a figure 8 polar pattern. And if you could switch it over to
Certainly can.
unidirectional, and then you want to turn that towards you. Bam.
Done. You got a haircut.
Siggy's in.
You got a haircut, eh?
Just needs into real job
Me?
now.
You got a haircut.
I did get a haircut. Actually, this haircut I think is like a week old.
Well,
It's handy though. My girlfriend cuts hair, so you know.
Your girlfriend's buying me some anti-balding shampoo.
You know what? It was
Use it, I
funny
do.
because I saw that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw that
Oh,
message
yeah. Going for
yesterday.
that.
What does it do exactly?
And
Go for
she gets a
Fills you with
message from
nutrients
Scotty
and
here
some shit.
saying, "Do you have any products that you can recommend to help me hold on to what little scraps I have?"
Yeah,
left?"
yeah. I was like Nioxin, yeah.
That's
So
what
I suggested Nioxin. I was like Nioxin, and I was like, I'm doing all right. I've been
Sounds
growing
like
it
a
out.
chemical.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's going. I'm losing it.
you're well. I'm
But,
still a little
but I
bit
mean, if I
confused.
start
Embrace it, buddy.
Nioxing it, then I just
But basically, it like clears the follicle paths.
Yeah.
So it allows and tingles your. I don't know.
I know, I
Sandra
used-
tried to. It
Stimulates
stimulates
your
your pores and it.
I started using it years ago when we lived on Clemens. Remember
Yeah,
that?
I know, 'cause
and
Buck still-
I should have kept using it.
I
But
could
I
probably
never-
concoct something for you.
Yeah?
Yeah, we'll just slap together a bunch of
Like
household
a mustard
solvents.
plaster or something?
Oh yeah.
Oh, what's
Baby
gonna happen
shit.
is we're all just gonna shave our heads and just start shaving our asses and have it transplanted to our
Yeah,
heads.
yeah. I've already been
Maybe not
saving
me.
my ass hair for like 6 months,
Gross.
waiting for this to happen.
I think I'm gonna bow out of that.
It's not for the only reason.
Oh,
Yeah,
so that's
well.
not another challenge.
It also makes a nice pillow.
Butt hair. Anal.
Great.
It's so
pillow.
soft.
Great
Anal pillow.
conversation today. The anal mic and the butt
Anal
hair
pillow.
transplant. Compelling, rich and compelling. So I was telling a bit of a story there. Well, started into a bit of story about Matt Grady earlier. So Mr. Grady, the other night I happened to wander into a band room upstairs, and lo and behold, there's Grady. And Grady and his production partner Kyle Ashbourne are both at Emax Studios, and so I had Grady down here into the studio, and we were chilling and kind of doing our thing. And next thing you know, I set up the microphone, and I basically let Grady loose and cutting some promos for London Indie Underground, and he told just a fantastic story off of the cuff. I don't have time to air it, but I'm going to air it when he's here, and I encourage you to tune in and check it out because it
Was he
is
here?
hilarious.
Next week?
He is here next week.
Next
yes.
week, yeah.
Yes. But this week it's all about Siggy over there.
Oh.
Siggy, we're going to cut back to
Oh,
you.
hi.
Are you.
Hi, everyone.
So, what do you got going on right now, Siggy? I know, one of the things that I saw that you posted recently, and if it's, if you're permit us to speak about it, is you're looking for a studio manager.
Yeah, we're kind of looking for someone else to, just like you, have an intern and someone to help you out with things.
Right.
Sometimes things get to be too much for you to sort of handle and take care of, and we're just looking for someone who, basically is going to help out with some of the management things and,
Are you talking
factor
like
and
administrative stuff? Or?
yeah, some paperwork stuff, some schmoozing, some getting out there and spreading the word. Part of what we do is, always trying to get yourself to the next level, next step. So I guess that's kind of what we're looking for. So I've got a bunch of really good resumes in from a lot of people, and we're just going to keep it open for a while and just bring in as many things as we can and just sort of pick through them and see who qualifies.
That's great news, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've been doing it. You've been doing this for a long time now.
Yeah,
so.
it's been, and it's always evolving, and the music industry is always evolving and changing, and you evolve with it. So this is, I guess, this is natural.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yes.
So, as a musician who's been recording and playing and gigging for years and years, to me, if you were to give seasons to music, right? Summer, springtime, that would be the time when you're playing because the weather's nice, so you can actually drive in our beautiful country. And then winter, you get depressed, you get sad, you record an album,
That's when
and
you should be
and
writing
lock
some good
yourself
songs.
away.
Yeah.
You have a studio where I would be just as happy to spend my summer.
Well, and that's what happens.
Is your business? Do you find that it teeter-totters?
I'd say
at
the
all, or?
only time things get a little bit kind of slowish is right when people go back to school.
Okay.
And a lot of my clientele is still in the sort of, I wouldn't say necessarily late teens, but late teens to early 20s. So they're either finished high school or they're in college or university. So when they go back to school, that's where things start to slow down a little bit, maybe for like a month and a half. And that's great. That's the time that I get to do, maintenance stuff or, my own musical projects or whatever. And then just before Christmas, like, that's when the rush comes on because they're like, oh, shit, we got to get this done, we got to get that done. And, and then after Christmas, they've got money again because they've got Christmas gifts and, that kind of thing. So then after Christmas is usually busy again. Then it gets a little slower in early spring kind of thing. And they're always just transitional phases. It's when people don't have money.
Of course.
And
which,
then
if you're a musician, is a lot more than you'd think.
Surprisingly and sadly, yes. They never have money, So, and of course, there's no denying it that we're in an economic, kerfuffle right now. So,
like that
like I'm sure we're in the upswing of some kind right now. Like we've been in that for 5 years. So, but I mean, the music industry has always been in decline and in transition and in evolution, and things are always changing. So
I think it goes back to you take it way back, back to the days before any kind of recording technology or anything. Do you think that the guy playing his mandolin sitting on the side of the road was making as much as the guy that was, the metalworks guy that was banging away making swords and shields and stuff?
The problem is exploitation and greed.
Of course.
Over the last couple of decades has put us all into a position that no one wanted to be in. So, and now we're left to pick up the pieces. So we're all just sort of, trudging along, doing our thing, and we if it's not good enough for us right now, we can get the fuck out and we can do something else if we really want to, but the people who are in it right now are in it because they love it.
You'll never get out. If you love it, you'll never get out.
It's in your
I tried
blood,
to get
man.
out at
That's
one point.
it.
It just sucks you back in.
I've tried to get out 900 times.
I can't get out. I can't afford to get out.
No. And once you're in,
I can't do anything else.
I can't afford to get in. I can't afford to get out.
It's the sad truth.
That kind of segues, I think, perfectly into what you and I were talking about earlier, Siggy. So, and this is something that I've been touting here for the last little while, but Chris Matthews, who was our MPP for this area, who, if I'm not mistaken, has recently stepped down, but in a partnership with City Council, has made a presentation to the London community called Strike the Right Note. And it was the preliminary seminar that I attended with Brandon. And subsequent to that, they've put through a four-step process, I guess, if you will, to help bolster the local scene. And what they did was a case study on Austin, Texas, which is infamous for South by Southwest. And that particular market, within a 5-year period, was showing a growth of $1 billion. So they grew up from 600 million to 1.6 billion. And as a result of that, there was a case study that was done to determine, what are some of the key things that they did as part of the evaluation process and implementation. And they want to take some of those factors and see if they can implement it here into our market. So the next phase of this is actually going to be taking place March 25th. I believe it's a Tuesday from 2 until 4:30. And this is going to be happening at Fanshawe College. So we'll post up some information about it if you'd like to attend. But I think it's going to be important for, those active in the community and the music community in particular that attend this, because the next stage is evaluation to see what kind of assets do we have here in London, what is the talent, and what are the driving forces in our market, and from there we're going to take a look at what we can implement to try to bolster the scene, because we all know, and we've been saying it over and over again, this is a real hotspot for talent in London for any number of reasons, not limited to the 2 schools that bring world-class talent to our city. But that said, we're all in agreement, and at least everybody has been, is that we do need to facilitate some change here. And it's with these types of programs that we need people to attend to voice their opinion and to say, hey, this is what I think this should happen. They need to be recognized as a contributor in this area, because when the time comes when they want to implement things, they're going to need people. And there's a lot of us that like you said, that love this and are doing it because of our love and our passion for it, and not necessarily because we're making a ton of money off of it. I mean, that's always the ultimate goal, but really it's a community of people that are all in this together, and that's
sustainable living.
Sustainable living.
That's what it comes down to.
I think that's what we've all had for the last
20 years, 15 years, however many years. I remember Ian Gifford. He was a big influential in making my first step in music, was saying, hey, you want to be a musician? When I first moved back to London and I was in my late teens, and he said, hey, if you want to be part of music, you want to do something, get involved in the scene. I mean, I probably didn't need to move next door to the embassy.
That was bad.
And move that close to the scene, but that's how much I wanted it then. And you see these kids that they're willing to do anything to be a part of the music scene, and we need that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if that goes away, then we're screwed.
And it kind of has, which is why it needs to.
Yeah, well, it has, but
we're
there's still
we're in the down wave.
We are in the down wave after the first decade of this millennium was really good for this city. It was
it was great.
We had some
music happened.
Yeah.
That's my argument every freaking day.
But it is dying though, right?
Oh, it absolutely is. Well, I mean,
it's
it's become mainstream when Skrillex is on the soundtrack to a Disney film. And
is that true?
Oh yeah.
But that's when you know that the apex is already been achieved.
Well, that's what I mean.
And
So
it's
it
on
hits the apex,
downturn,
and all
right?
it's going to do is just drop back down. Kids are
Right.
going to get sick of it and go back in. Well, then again, I mean, another big contributing factor into the success of EDM is also the fact that kids are doing a shit ton of drugs earlier these years.
Right.
But
and they grow out of that.
Yep.
And then they'll start smoking pot and start listening to Neil Young or whatever it is that they do.
Someone once said to me, "Will we ever get another Kurt Cobain?" And that's something that people
I
should
hope
think
not,
about.
because it's already been done.
What do you mean?
I think you mean like at that level,
at that
artist
level.
that's.
Will
so
we ever
big,
get
that's so influential and impacts so many people's lives
at such a high level?
Well,
without
ask yourself
being,
who the artist before Kurt Cobain was that did exactly what he did. Who would you say? Elvis? The
Maybe.
Beatles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Elvis for rock and roll, I would say.
Elvis for rock and roll. I mean, Elvis was bridging a lot of different genres together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Kurt wasn't necessarily doing that.
No, he wasn't. He was bridging pop music into underground
but I don't
music.
think he was doing it intentionally.
No, he wasn't doing it intentionally. That's
no,
what's crazy.
It was coincidence.
It just happened, yeah.
It was coincidence, because he didn't care about any of that stuff. He's like, I'm just going to play some songs that have some pop sensibility.
But at the same
I don't
time,
really care what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, you can.
landscape,
that's our belief of Kurt Cobain. But just to play devil's advocate, was he? The first line on his last album is "Teenage angst has paid off well, but now I'm bored and old."
He's 27. Fuck off.
Yeah. But he was stinking rich at that time. And
But
I'm just
at the
playing
same
devil's
time,
advocate.
He's infamous though for writing lyrics last minute before he sang
Right.
them.
Yeah,
Like,
in the taxi
he was a
on the way
melody
to
guy.
the
right.
Yeah.
So I mean, how much stock can you really put into what the guy was saying? He was just really good at coming up with lyrics on the spot, and a lot of them didn't even make much sense though when you try to read.
But they're
into them.
open for interpretation, as he
Exactly.
said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and some people buy into like the
Yeah,
message of music and say, "Oh, well, it means this and it means that," and you know what? That's the great thing about lyrics is it's open to interpretation.
But there's no question he changed the landscape, and the band changed the landscape beyond like.
And nothing's
to
happened
go from
like
like
that since
80s
then.
shredder like
Yeah.
garbage
Oh, yeah.
to like the kids wearing the Value Village clothes and just everything got changed like seemingly overnight. That
Yeah.
September '91 that record hits and
just as quick as it changed, it ended.
Yeah.
And when it ended, we entered this new era where, you've got someone like Dave Grohl now who's really trying to hold on to, I think, what was happening in that era. He's trying, but he's fighting the
Well, he's as
Skrillexes,
nostalgic as any of us
the-
are
But this is-
and would be.
I understand what you're saying. So, who do you think is going to come and change music and
Well, I
bring it
don't
back
know.
to another? But my
No.
question is not more
Matthew
so who,
Johnson?
but what would the next sound be? Because how can you?
Where are we at now? Exactly.
Like, how can you go any further?
But did we say that when the '80s were here?
That's
When,
true.
What else is left?
Well,
we've done the '70s thing, we've done the '60s thing. Now we
I
got
just
the
think
'80s thing.
It's starting to revert. Like, I mean, all the new wave, new bands that I'm hearing that are coming out that are doing something different.
Everything now is
I'll have
reminiscent
to-
of
It's
something
reminiscent
else.
of 90s.
Throwback
Everything
songs,
is
throwback.
now, yeah,
It's
so.
just
Yeah, it's all like that '70s, with the long hair.
And someone did the modem sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
been done now.
Everyone
so.
picked a sound and went with it.
Well, I think, and to your point, Scotty, I think to elaborate on that a little bit, I think we kind of entered the era of volume, and I don't mean volume in terms of physical sound
Loud,
level,
yeah.
but the amount of bands that were being pumped out.
Saturation.
Yeah, and it was all these bands that would come out, have one or two songs, the record company would make their money, and then they'd shelve them. And that just kept happening over and over and over again. And it was, for a long time, it was so hard to discern what band was what because they all had that same sound.
Who was it? I remember when the Toadies first came out. Yeah, and I thought it was Our Lady Peace for the longest time.
Yeah.
Well, the 90s really there's some great stuff that came out of the 90s, but there's also a bunch of crap. that
Oh,
came out of
definitely.
the
I mean,
90s.
every era's been like that.
I mean,
so.
not compared to, I suppose, in terms of, pop commercialized music over the last 10 years.
But remember, saturation is happening with the video game industry right now. Like,
Oh, yeah.
they're comparing right now to the crash of what was it, 83, 84, when there were so many titles out there that people just didn't buy them anymore, and everything imploded, and Atari almost went bankrupt, and it was Nintendo with their original NES system in '85 that brought it all back again.
Right.
So right now it's the same thing with music. It's a saturation point. There's so much shit. There's so much, and everyone's pushing their own stuff in Bandcamp and iTunes and all this stuff. There's just too much of it.
Right.
But there's also how many more billion people now than there was in 1985.
No, that's fair.
You know?
But and I've kind of been in some debates online about the advantages and disadvantages, I guess, as far as the digital medium and the internet and how it's allowed so many bands to submit their stuff to the world and throw it out there and say here it is, and and some would suggest that it's kind of brought parity and leveled out the playing field, but at the same time I think it's kind of separated the good from the mediocre, and I mean that with the utmost respect. But nowadays, and Siggy, you would know too, and being a producer myself, I mean, a band will come in and maybe that take wasn't perfect, and our goal is always to try to get somebody to play it right. But sometimes as an engineer and you're under the gun, maybe budget constraints, and cut paste and fix some stuff up and you make it sound as good as you possibly can as from a producer's perspective. But at the same time, that doesn't necessarily represent how the band really sounds.
And beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Of
So
course.
my thought on all of that the last few years has been I like to keep some mistakes,
Of course.
a little funny squeak on the guitar or squeak on the voice, or I'm fixing less basically. I'm
Right.
enjoying more live off the floor stuff.
Right
You
on.
know, just
that's what we need, man. That's and
It
that's,
is what
in
more
my
real
opinion,
stuff,
is
you
what
know.
we really
And it's
need
about
is-
the music in the end,
Exactly.
you know, not about the technology.
And then that separates that. There's a clear distinction
Yeah.
between those that can do that and those that can't. And
It's
not to suggest that those bands that maybe aren't the same caliber can't have a place.
Yep.
But I am suggesting that the playing field for a long time was kind of leveled out, and now we're starting to see now more of those performance bands that are coming back around,
Definitely, yeah.
where you go and see them play live and you're like, wow, these guys are incredible. And how many shows have you been to? I know I've certainly been, where I go and seeing them live was almost a disappointment,
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the Pro Tools
Yeah,
era of the
I
early
know.
2000s,
Yeah.
So, and so many labels would sign bands, because they had one good song or whatever, but they knew that the record could be great.
And they had a
quote,
nice
great.
smile.
You
And they
know,
had
and it
good
was, and every
hair,
band,
and-
and that was the thing. You go see a band, and be like, oh, they're a Pro Tools band, because they got tweaked and edited and auto-tuned and, and everyone sort of starts to sound the same. Like, the band sounds the same. It's really just the dude's voice that changes, because the melodies are all, and especially when people are writing songs for others, which has happened since the beginning of time.
Of course,
So it's
yeah.
not like now's any different, but it's almost worse now, because you've got, the team of like Max Martin and Dr. Luke and like all those like pop hits, Katy Perry and Lady Gaga, and like all that stuff does start to, as much as I do love it,
I love it too,
does
but
all
there's-
start to sound the same though. But you got to remember, like Dr. Luke, the guy's a guitar player. He was on SNL for almost
yeah.
10 years. Like, he's a rock dude. So I mean, us rock dudes are gonna listen to this stuff and be like, yeah, man, I feel
I
it.
find that some of the best pop
know?
hits are
Yeah,
written
it's-
by rock
it's
dudes.
catchy. It's
Because
catchy
they
stuff.
have, I don't know, an outside perspective
They
on
do.
things, but they still know how to write a good tune and put in a good hook.
Absolutely.
Because they're writing it from the perspective of a musician, as opposed to trying to write it as a just writing
Even
a
though
pop
the way
song,
it's
you know what I mean?
created
Like,
is very much grid-like in
it's very
Pro
grid-like.
Tools and pasting and layering and all that kind of shit.
But but if you could take almost every Katy Perry song and just add a little more grit to it and a little more thing, and it would be a rock song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would be a
it's-
Pink
Oddly
song.
enough,
also.
though, that is what I look for in a rock band.
Yeah.
And I look to a song and I try to think of if I could actually vision this covered as a pop song.
As a pop song, yeah, of course.
In the end, a good song is a good
Absolutely.
song. So,
Yeah.
Your argument about will we ever have another Kurt Cobain, that's debatable, but good songs will continue to rise to the top, and whether that's behind a good band or a good individual who's a good songwriter, whatever that may be.
Whether or not another individual will emerge as a
And
person
ch-
that's
and change the
single-handedly,
scope
yes. Whether or
like
not that
that.
will happen, that I
Change
don't
what we
know.
wear, change how we think.
But I do. I have to suggest that I believe the era of the supergroups. I mean, has come to pass. I think. I mean,
fucking hope so.
Yeah.
I never want to see Audio Slave's face again
Yeah.
in my face ever. Like, I mean, I talk about two great bands that just like the minute they formed, I couldn't do it. There was something wrong with that to me. Not that they were bad, not that they, but I was a parody to me. It was like, are you kidding me? But you say supergroups, and there's a fine line, right?
There is, because there's certainly like them Crooked Vultures.
Or
as an example,
you look
which
at
they're fantastic.
Or a Perfect Circle, which some people would be like,
I don't
but
know
it's
that's,
different.
That's a super group, though.
James Eha, Josh Freese, and Maynard James Keenan are three pretty big names in the music
I don't
industry.
consider James Eha like one of the upper echelon guitar players.
Not
I think
any-
he was kind of
no.
a throw-in Smashing Pumpkins. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, well,
but I think in terms of like, it's members of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Right,
to
but
me
when
is a supergroup.
but when
That makes
when
sense.
I say, and at the same time, supergroup also means like those groups of absolutely super talented individuals
Yeah.
or performers, right? So like whether or not you think they're a supergroup, like a band like Rush, or a band like Led Zeppelin, or a band like Supertramp. You know what I mean? There was just that caliber of musicianship.
Or Asia.
that-
Yeah,
Yeah. Supergroup.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, though. Yeah, supergroup has been
Europe,
turned
too,
into a parody thing over
Yeah.
the last
I'm sorry. What are you
while,
saying, Jay?
Oysterhead.
Oysterhead. Well, yeah, but Oysterhead is just another permutation of Les Claypool's ego. I mean, it just keeps going and going and going. And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Primus fan, right? But how many bands can the guy? What does he have now? The Frog Brigade, and the list goes on and on and on.
The problem is most of those supergroups they're put together because someone wants to make money.
Right.
They're not put
the
together
new
for the
age
right reasons.
Rock version of Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I'll probably
and
catch some flack over that because
that Supernova thing a couple of years
Oh,
ago, and there's been
yeah.
so many weird
That's what really throws me off is when you're doing a reality TV show.
It's all
and all
just
you're doing is
crap.
just milking money to just.
Yeah,
build up
I played
sales.
Norma Jeans this past Friday with my Tool tribute band, and as you're walking down the hallway, and if you've been there before, there's a picture of Lucas Rossi.
He sucks.
Right,
So bad.
and he's got like eyeliner on and some like eyeshadow, and he's just making this like scowl, like blue steel, like look at me, I'm so badass, and it's just. So
But in justification,
plastic.
nobody gives a fuck about him.
True.
Nobody goes and sees him.
Well, I don't know.
I
don't
do.
know.
I'm sure.
Why have you booked him?
Oh yeah, I'm twice at the Salt Lounge.
Oh, really?
30 and 16 people.
Oh, I shouldn't be laughing, but
No, you should. It's hilarious.
I know.
Just like.
But it's
Chris
all about the
Jericho.
media and sort of hyping it and hoping that people are
the
gonna
American
be sucked
Idol
in
and the-
yeah,
yeah.
it's- American Idol made everyone a fucking vocal expert, and that's what really what pisses me off. Like people that really have no business saying anything about anybody's vocals, all of a sudden they've got super expert opinions. You know, dudes' moms and cousins and like, you see so and so, and we had a really good voice.
What I don't understand about that show is how it is still on the air. Not one because it's been whatever, how many seasons it's been.
12, I think.
But because only two winners have actually had longevity in their
Kelly
careers.
Clarkson?
Kelly Clarkson and
Ruben Studdard?
Daughtry, Chris
Daughtry.
Daughtry.
Right. Not
Ruben
Ruben.
who?
Ruben Studdard?
Yeah.
I think Clay Aiken gets more.
So they get
more
these
press
record
than
contracts
Ruben
where they're
does.
dumping in all these money. The show is also contributing to that. They're not selling any records. They then falter. How? I don't understand why they're keeping the whole.
Actually, you missed Carrie Underwood, and
Carrie Underwood,
she,
too,
Because
she's
there's
obviously the
probably
biggest one
still
of all.
money in advertising and people.
Oh,
still watch
there
the show
absolutely
and,
is for the
you know.
networks.
But as far as like the labels making money off the artists, that's few
I-
far between. That's for sure.
And that's
You know.
they have 15 or 16 producers that are working on.
Well, and if they
those
can make
artists,
a couple
you know.
of bucks while it's hot, while someone's the end of a season, and they do those tours and everything too, right? At the end, like
And it takes. I would never want to discredit any of the people that do that stuff because they may not be a musician like yourself or myself or you,
I'm not a
but it takes something special to go out there and be bullshit, right? Like
I would agree.
It
I
really
would agree, yeah.
does, right? Like.
And for those people, maybe that is their only 15 minutes that they've
Because
ever
here's
had
the-
and never going to get.
Here's the flip side: is I know a lot of guys that don't do anything in music that are all talented and walked away because they got so jaded because of that stuff.
I know. There's.
Because
I think we're all thinking of the same person.
well,
right
exactly because they couldn't handle
Now. AJ.
they couldn't handle being themselves without trying to be a parody of themselves, right? So there's that fine line. So I have respect for those people that they can go out there and.
But again, it is exploitation. In the
it's
end,
total exploitation.
Like you're just using people to bring ratings and
it's gross.
advertising and money and dollars, and we laugh at the people who suck, the William Hungs and the whatever. And we somehow he got it. You didn't mention him. He had a pretty good career.
Yeah, that's true. He got a deal off that show.
This conversation is great, and
He even got mentioned on The Office. Remember on the license plate.
It segues nicely.
You
I think we
William
got to
Hung
wrap
fan.
this thing up, but there's a couple announcements I need to make, and one of them is I was really humbled to be asked today to be a part of the Jack Richardson Awards music seminars, and I'm going to be moderating as well as contributing to one of the panels. And the design of the panel is to give young up-and-coming bands some insights to help them navigate through the current landscape of the music industry. And having done this podcast now for 23 weeks, and I've resonated with a lot of people, and at the same time got some interesting perspective from some of the artists that have been on, and producers, and it just from a number of different perspectives. And I got to say, I'm looking forward to taking all of what I learned and some of my experience into this, and to try to give back to the community. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I know you've certainly been involved in the past. I'm going to be moderating you, I think.
I've done it before. It was a blast. I'm looking forward to doing it again this year.
It should be pretty cool, man.
That and the booking agent one.
Oh, you do that one too?
I think I'm doing
Are you
both.
going to share some stories about emails that you received?
No, I'll save that for podcast. That's not really like seminar worthy.
Got a show announcement here. London Indie Underground alumni group Messes and Miracles have messaged us a little while ago to let us know that they're going to be playing Friday, March 10th at the Blackshire Pub. with
Friday
a
when?
band called The Clearing from Toronto, and Pie in the Sky, which is another London band. So
Jimmy, it's
Can you check
it's
that
March
date?
12th today.
they have Friday, May. Sorry,
May
13th today.
Friday, May 10th. So
13th
this is
today, right.
well in advance of this show. I don't know why I said March 10th, but May 10th. Hey, I'm not perfect. Come on.
Hey,
give me
I
a break.
know. We
May
didn't
10th
take you in and fix you up, and this
so
is
we'll
live.
see. We'll see if we can find. I don't know if there's a Facebook, event page that was done up for this one, but we'll see if we can track it down and we'll bang it up here for you. It's on May 10th.
The Traveling
You should have the
Wilburys,
band
my buddy
send you
Jesse
in.
just mentioned.
Oh, really? As
a supergroup. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah. Peace and love, man.
it worked out and it was awesome and it's still awesome.
Totally.
Yep.
All right, so we're gonna burn down the sponsors here. We got to thank them. First off, Jay Rhoda Photography. Jay and his great beard were here a little while ago, and he gave us the middle finger as he left politely. So Jason has been doing some photos here for us at London Indie Underground now for right since the onset of this whole thing, and has been a great guy to come out and take any shows, pictures of shows that I've been involved with. I know he's going to be checking out Geronimo tomorrow night at the APK. I'll be taking some photos there, and he will be attending Saturday's show with Two Crown King, The Salads, Stale Fish, and My Son the Hurricane. That said, Jason, very affordable photographer, takes some great photos. If you happen to be in a band and you want some promo shots done, or if you want some live stuff done, Instagram's great, it's cool and all, but it's not. You're not going to find somebody that's going to be able to work with like Jason does, and he's an editing master. So get at him. Also, the Submission Academy, Jane and Steve Poulin, just saw them today. They stopped by for a quick visit. We're getting some work done next door, actually, at New Image, and they do custom laminations and mounting. So if you have posters and stuff like that you want to put onto a nice plaque, you can put it onto the wall. And their school right now, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is really blowing up. They're at Dundas and Egerton. They've got a great kids program there, and are urging people to come out and check out what it's all about. I say week in and week out, people kind of associate jiu-jitsu as a barbaric form of fighting and stuff like that, and akin to the UFC. But the truth of it is, it's actually a fun and unique way to get into shape, build some self-confidence through hard work. So go check them out, submissionacademy.com. Fullcolorcards.ca, my buddy Scotty Fairmount, a.k.a. Scotty Finlayson, who's an avid listener, great supporter of London Indie Underground. We feature some of his earlier stuff when he used to play in a band called Kickstand Travolta, which is a fantastic band. I've got some of their stuff in the archive
Probably
here.
the greatest name ever.
Yeah, that said, Scotty is in the industry of making business cards, custom prints. He also does custom T-shirts as well, but not like Gary, where he does his own designs, and a lot of it is based around the dude from the movie The Big Lebowski, which he's a huge fan of. So from time to time, he posts those up and makes them available. But if you happen to be in the market, this is the guy that you want to go see. And last but not least, Shirt for Brains, custom screen printing. If you can think it, they can ink it. Gary right now, who's on sabbatical out in Vegas. Like I said off the top, last time he was there, he was looking at cardigans and shoes. And that was pretty much the sum total of his vacation. I'm sincerely hoping that this time it's a little bit more adventurous. I know he said that he was going to see Jay Leno, so that kicked it up 100% better than the last time. He's one of these guys that just travels a lot. Like I think he's going to Italy a little later on. He was in Vegas 3 or 4 times last year. He just does a lot of traveling. But that said, he does some great work. I know Elias recently had some T-shirts done. Siggy, you had some T-shirts done for Beach Road Studio.
Fantastic job.
Yeah, and real good dude. And he's got his own setup at home, and he recently bought an embroidery machine, so now he can do embroider toques and that kind of stuff too. So he can really fan the full span of product assortment that you potentially could be looking at with respect to printing and embroidery. So this is the guy that you want to go see. So that brings us to the end of another podcast.
Woo woo.
And I got to say, last but not least, Underground Sound Rehearsal Studios, which is a new business that we opened up, me and Ajay from Two Crown King, where we're offering fully furnished rooms available for hourly rental. We include only top quality gear with package pricing. So if you happen to be in a band and you need a rehearsal space, we also have monthly options available for bands. Please connect with us, and we're happy to support you.
Great rooms, too. I've used them. They're great rooms.
Oh, you've got one booked?
I got one booked Friday.
And as a matter of fact, I've got some clients here that are looking to book this room for the evening as well. So we're gonna
fuck off, guys.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. So Siggy, we're gonna end this thing off with one of your tracks here,
okay.
That you had teed up nicely for us. So what would you like to listen to of the compositions?
I don't know what I
you
gave you. I
provided?
gave you a whole bunch of.
At first sight, The Accident, Breaching Vista, Chasing Mercury, Radio Adelaide.
Oh,
What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
You know what? Let's play the breakup.
All right.
Oh,
what tune?
yeah.
What tune?
Car crash.
Car crash.
Yeah.
We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it.
Well, only 2 actually had vocals. The third one was just an instrumental. He only got to finish 2 tracks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have all.
Yeah, this is
I
awesome.
don't have the third one even as a mix. I know I gave it to them, but I only have the 2.
All right, well, we're going to end this baby off, but I want to thank Geronimo for coming into the studio tonight and performing for us. We'll be archiving this podcast tomorrow, so you'll be able to review it and check it out. Scotty, thanks for sitting in the big chair for us.
Yeah, this is
You did
great.
a great
I
job
hope
as
Jay got
skinny
a
fat guy.
fat picture of me, and
Probably.
we'll see you guys all on Saturday. Bring your beards.
Yep.
I will win.
The beard off.
Guaranteed.
Alexandra, thank you for sitting in on the podcast tonight and managing the streams
Yes,
for us.
thank you.
We very much appreciate that because we're looking to connect with the fans, and obviously you represent a good chunk of that because I can't do it all. I need some help, and I appreciate it. Brandon Eady, thanks
Hi.
for coming. A regular fixture on our program
Apparently.
now, and I appreciate that. And you're welcome here any week. You want to come and drink my beer?
Beer? I don't have
That's
water.
what I got.
You don't
The
drink
beer.
beer.
What in the hell?
Remember, we gotta start my segment too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Angry Edie. So I'll tell you what. Next week you're coming because it's.
Everybody was planning on it.
Okay, so next week is Matt Grady and Kyle
Oh, yeah.
Ashbourne from EMAX Studios. We're going to be sharing some stories as well as
And some beers, probably.
Oh, and some beers. And I have a very special clip from Matt Grady that we recorded just Monday night here. A little short story that he told us off the cuff, which is unbelievable. I can't wait to share it with you. That said, Siggy, thank you so much for coming.
Thank
dude.
you.
It's great to see you. Any music that you've got coming down the pipe,
I
dude,
will
if you
send
want us.
your way.
And that said, if people are interested in connecting with you, where would they look you up online?
2 ways.
Okay.
SiegfriedMeier.com and BeachRoadStudios.com.
Ole.
Yes.
All right.
I'm
And
calling you later. That voice was awesome.
so people are looking. If people are looking and are succinctly
you got me, I
interested
forgot.
in your position that you have available with studio management,
Yes.
is there somewhere they could send
The
you?
same. You
Okay.
can find all my emails and all that shit on there. Facebook, of course, you know.
Go you.
If you can't spell my name, well, then you don't need to contact me.
No, it's true. It's true. I agree.
Yep.
Anyways, thanks again for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, listeners. Thank you for listening. Sorry about the stream tonight. I know we've had some feedback here where it was a choppy on your end, or at least a couple of you anyway. And from our end, everything looks cool. But then again, we don't run Ustream, so I'm going to blame Ustream. It's got to be their fault. It has to be their fault.
It's
Gotta be.
definitely
Yeah.
Ustream's fault.
All right.
Our fault.
So we're going to end this baby off. So thanks for tuning in to London Indie Underground. We'll join you next week with the Indie Stream at 6, or the Indie Flow rather, at 6 p.m. and then the Indie Stream podcast once again at 7 o'clock on Wednesdays. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. This is The Breakup with Car Crash on the London Indie Underground.
Get up, I'll wipe that blood from your face.